Wave Master asked of the day, like, what's the point in lyricism? What's the point? The point is that nobody can do what I do. Fuck it, let's go. The first person on earth cursed with my secrets, only to regurgitate my work like you were secrets that hurt. But I was never concerned with the lesson. We were immortal, so I was never concerned with the blessing. I called mom like your daughter was gone. She was in shock, like I just stepped off the plane. Let me get a hold of your pops and stop. How does she have control of this devil? Wait, I'm reporting. Guess the apple ain't far from the kennel, so now it's just paperwork. Logistics in Philly, identifying the body, recovering all her property, seeing if the mortician perm forced her hair properly. Wait, that part is where it got to me. Fucking where is monotony? This shit is just dumb. Called your phone 20 times saying pick up just once, but it was done. You already took your last breath, so now a picture on the wall, so that's left. Let's go.
It's the hope of every father that
Joaquin, you gotta remember,
their son can do better than they
we'll
ever
always be
did.
family and nothing will ever change
My
that.
mom told me a long time, look after my sister. Joaquin,
I love you.
look after yours.
I love the two of you.
DJ Unique.
Let's cut to the punch. Time for the sequel. Jay only been here for months. Shit. And I thought it would only be once. Children, I gotta thank God that we live in deep. All period that is none in a million. Now we got a son in the building. As a father, want a daughter to walk the cotillions. But I feel like I'ma fucking get lost in the ceiling. What if cheerleading has lost its appealing? I'm your father, providing is my first task. Trying to juggle changing diapers with the first cast. What if your spine is misaligned too? Mind you, this is how me and Homer designed you. All I ask is that you giving your mother a break. We ain't eating, but she keeping the cuts on the plate. And no matter what disease the customers make, we will always be the seeds who covered in grace. Yes.
Life has a way of, I wish I could tell you that, in a position that you can never see yourself in. The only thing that I want for you to live your best life. Once you step on this earth, your only goal is to be better than who you ever were.
By the way, what does redacted mean?
Welcome back to Redacted Media, where we bring you the content as long as you mind your business. And I'm hoping my mic didn't just go out, but I feel like it did. And we're going to deal with that problem, but you guys mind your fucking business because we're bringing you the content, all right?
I mean, I still see the lines making the nice shapes. So
'cause this one's me, because I'm on the left, I believe.
yeah,
And that one's you. And I'm hoping it sounds all right. But this is a new setup.
we're couch boys now.
Couch cast, you know?
Yeah,
But yeah, I was tired of dealing with things over on that side of the room, and I have this wonderful couch, so we're here,
yeah.
and we're actually not breaking down really a Dark Tower book, but it is a Dark Tower book.
Yeah, it's part of the Dark Tower, but it's like a short story that is not its own book.
So, a couple of questions about that before we get started.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you could enjoy this story if you hadn't read any of the Dark Tower books?
I think so.
Okay.
I think that he definitely threw enough things in there where like it is better if you had read them.
Yeah.
But I think that if you just had picked up this collection and read it, it would be a little weird, but I think you could totally like follow along and enjoy it.
Okay, on the other side of that, was this reading integral to our experience through the Dark Tower? I don't know if I was added anything.
Yeah. I don't necessarily know if it does either. I don't have, the like knowledge of the books 5, 6, and 7 that came after he wrote this story.
Yeah.
But maybe not.
Okay. So one of the things that some of the other podcasts I listen to do is they mention like how if they're rereading this book, when was the first time they read it? How did they take it in and what media form? And I think it'd be kind of interesting for us to do that. And it reminded me because I don't have a book in front of me today. and somehow you do.
Yeah, wait,
So-
what?
Yeah. So, what collection of novellas is that?
So this is the Everything's Eventual collection. It's 14 short stories. Originally, Little Sisters of Eluria came out in like, it's called like the Legends collection,
Okay.
and it was like short stories from masters of modern fantasy at the time, right? In '98.
Okay.
So there was like a story from Robert Jordan in there, and a story from George R. R. Martin, and I think the thing about all these, or at least for most of them, those two and King, is that they all were like short stories that kind of took place within the world of like their big works.
Okay.
So Robert Jordan put out a short story that took place in the Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
George R. R. Martin put out something happened in Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah. So it's like an anthology of anthologies.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the only thing that really connects them is the fact that they are connected to something else.
Yeah,
Which
exactly.
is kind of cool. I didn't know that. That's really cool. I listened on audiobook, as I tend to do. I have a 45-minute drive to work every day. And so I do a lot of my podcast research and stuff through that. And I kept on listening to Everything's Eventual after finding where Little Sister of Eluria was.
Yeah.
And I actually kind of really liked the titular short story, Everything's Eventual.
I haven't read that yet, but it was
It's
like the very next
fucking
thing.
nuts. Yeah,
Yeah?
it's crazy. It's like this guy that has basically an ability of, not persuasion, but like you're telling somebody to do something, they're like, okay, yeah.
Kind of like
The power of
manipulation a little bit.
like manipulation. There's a word for it that I'm forgetting what it is, but basically he has the power of like telling somebody, hey, you should probably do this thing. Suggestion, yes, the power of suggestion. Very good.
Yeah.
And he like gets recruited by the fucking CIA.
Oh shit.
It's fucking nuts. So
That's not what I expected you to say at all.
he's like a mass murderer of suggestion. He'll like email people and suggest that they kill themselves, and they wake up and kill themselves.
He can brain control them through email?
It's fucking nuts. Like I wasn't listening to it like I was combing through. I was just kind of like, it's on, whatever. Kind of podcasting it, just have it on in the background. Oh, wait. So I caught the power of suggestion. I found out he's fucking sending emails. And
this came out in 2002.
yeah.
So this one, like, people didn't really understand email, so they're like, oh, that shit can kill you. You better send this on to 14 people or else.
That's funny. Yeah, like even him, I'm using email as a term that we are familiar with. In the book, it wasn't really familiar, or it wasn't really emails. It was just like he would somehow connect to the library's computer in town. I'm like,
okay.
How?
So he's a hacker as well.
Everybody in the early 2000s was a hacker.
Yeah. If you could turn on a computer, you were a hacker.
Yeah. If you could change the voice of the "You've Got Mail" guy, you were like top 10% smartest people in the world.
Right, absolutely.
But yeah, it was fucking nuts, and I need to go back and actually listen to it or read it because I enjoyed it a lot, and it was out there. So if you guys are finding this and read along with us, the next story in this little collection of short stories is pretty good too.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I guess the first thing that whenever I wanted to read this book, I want to find out when it happened in Roland's life. How old was he? Where's the Men in Black? Where's Eddie? Where's Susanna? Where's Jake? Is this like, whatever. So do you want to fill in us with that information?
Yeah. So this the story seems like it takes place maybe I kind of got the gist that it was like shortly before the Gunslinger, but still like maybe a few years out. Like he's kind of wandering. It's after, everybody he knows has died. So after whatever happened with Cuthbert and everybody.
Yeah.
But before he gets to Tull.
What they call whenever Cuthbert and Elaine die? Have they mentioned that enough in the first 4 books? The Battle of Jericho Hill, what they talk about?
I don't recall that name.
That might be more of like a book 6, book 7 thing that Roland really starts thinking about it.
Yeah.
And King has never put it on screen, never put it in comic books, never put it in. He might have put it in, like, allowed somebody to create something about Jericho Hill, but it wasn't his full idea of what it should be. It's just basically a battle against the good man. And if I got a new one, a new Dark Tower book in 2023, and it was Jericho Hill, I'd be so fucking hyped. That'd be amazing.
That's awesome.
there's
So it's like
something-
this big, huge, pivotal battle that only ever gets like mentioned, kind of.
Everybody fucking dies in it. Rowan escapes in a cart of dead bodies. Like where they're throwing dead bodies in. He's in there with like dead Cuthbert, dead Elaine, dead dad. And that's how he escapes. It's fucking nuts. Yeah.
So his side lost, and he just
lost. Like he is literally the last gunslinger. Like everybody else dies.
wow. I figured it would be a battle where, everybody died, but like he was like the lone victor or something.
Yeah.
But no, like if you're hiding in
a cart of dead bodies,
cart of bodies to get out of there,
yeah,
like the other guys won.
Yeah, it
decisively.
Well, also, I don't know if it might not have been that extreme, but I think it's been years since I've read that part. I usually stop my reread around here where we're at in the series, just because I've gotten the gist of it and I know how it ends. It all seems to kind of be funneling to that point now.
Yeah.
So it's very, very easy to predict. Sorry, this mic gives me so much fucking anxiety. Jesus Christ. But yeah. Also, I didn't realize before sitting down, I still sound like shit. I've been sick for like a week and a half, and I thought that I had my voice back, and I obviously don't. I apologize to anybody listening. It is what it is.
I thought you sounded all right.
Oh, really? Because I feel like it's a raspy on. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not used to.
Maybe like slightly raspier than
Okay.
normal, but
Okay.
not bad.
Okay. So you saying I have a raspy voice already?
No, but I mean, like,
Anyways, let's get into this fucking book.
all right.
So Roland is probably, I put him at like late 20s probably for his age here.
That sounds about right.
And I thought, yeah, before the gunslinger. And so that means, nobody that we've met has entered Roland's world or has any connection with him yet. And he also kind of makes stupid ass mistakes. I don't feel like this Roland.
He's not as experienced and as much of a badass yet.
Yes, but is he on the trail of the Man in Black yet?
Yes, that's what I got, at least.
Okay, so he has so he's probably already lost Jericho Hill. The world is really going to shit. And I still don't think that this Roland that we meet in this book could have survived Tull.
Yeah, probably not.
He wasn't him being, spoiler alert for the first part of this book, him being overran by slow mutants is kind of embarrassing for the Roland we know.
Right?
He just fucking guns them down in a thing under a mountain where you can't fucking see, with Jake. So
Yeah.
getting attacked in broad daylight is not the gunslinger, or at least the Roland way by any means.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Getting ambushed. But yeah, so it starts off with him, pulling up to this town that it looks like it should be a pretty decently sized town. He kind of remarks, and it's a time of year where people should be out, and the town should be kind of bustling, and
Mm-hmm.
it's completely abandoned.
Yeah.
And he's like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
So this also tells me, he's nowhere near the desert yet, because he is still expecting to see life.
For sure. Yeah, that's a really good
At this
point.
point.
I didn't even think about it like that. I feel like I have a tendency to consider all of Roland's world to be desert.
Right?
and
Like,
it's
just
flat-
dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just ready to go on. Even whenever we go past Lud, and that I think he even mentions like a fucking waterfall, and I'm like, there's no water here. What are you talking about?
Right?
Water doesn't exist in a desert. What are you talking about? But yeah, so he comes up on this town, and it definitely gave me feelings of Tull, but he obviously didn't kill this town yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he stumbles upon, was it the dog first that he saw?
Yeah. So he sees this dog chewing on a boot,
Yeah.
and then he realizes, well, that boot is still attached to a leg, which is still attached to a body.
Yeah.
The body is like inside of like a trough,
Mm-hmm.
and like the legs just kind of like hanging off over the edge.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he sees this dog chewing on it, and like the dog has noticed him,
Mm-hmm.
and he's kind of wondering like, well, he's got the taste for human flesh already because he's chewing on this leg. Why isn't he coming after me? And then like he realizes the dog's kind of like messed up or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So he tries to go like shoo the dog off, because like, yeah, like he kind of feels like the sanctity of a body there. He's like leave it alone.
He mentions what this dog looks like, and he has a cross on his chest, right, of white fur.
Yeah, so it's like a black dog with like white fur in the pattern of,
Yeah.
of a cross, he calls him like the Jesus man.
Yeah, he's Christ and the man Jesus.
Yeah,
is
Christ
how
and the man Jesus.
A lot of these, yeah, he describes that. And if you guys are looking at our thumbnail, that is not our thumbnail. That is our thumbnail. They actually had a picture on the comic book of this dog. He has the cross down there.
Oh,
But-
okay. I got the picture that it was on his back when I was reading it, but maybe that's
Oh.
just how I interpreted it.
Yeah, and I didn't include it in the thumbnail because there was some junk down there that I had to kind of edit out. But yeah, this is the dog that he sees, and I thought it was
Okay.
really cool to include that in the comic version. It's always nice to see.
Yeah. That's another
Definitely.
cool thing about this that we talked about a little bit before we were recording. Marvel did make some Dark Tower comics.
Yes.
And the Little Sisters is one of the parts of it that they adapted.
You didn't read it, did you?
The comic, no.
Okay, I should have, and I don't even know why I didn't.
I didn't know about that until like an hour before
Oh, okay.
I got here.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Marvel took some. I mean, I believe it's not like, because the way comics are told, not often do you get a full graphic novel that is the equal to a novel.
Yeah.
And like Marvel making their comics. So they're going to take, a short story like this, or if they're going to do like the drawing of the three, it might just be Eddie's part, You're not going to get all of it. And
Right.
so I don't know exactly. Actually, I have something over there, some kind of comic that I got from the little book place in town. I don't remember. I don't know. Yeah, comics are great. We should read more of them.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
But yeah, so as he is like checking out this body, he notices it has like this gold medallion around his neck. And so he's kind of like inspecting that, and he like picks it up, and it's got like a holy symbol on it or whatever. And he hears some shuffling behind him, and like just a whole big ass group of slow mutants has shown up. They've just a whole crowd has snuck up on him.
Yes.
And he describes them as like, green skinned monsters. Like they're so decayed at this point he can't even tell like if they were originally like men or women before they got mutated.
So should we just like say the obvious? These are basically zombies.
Yeah.
That's basically what they are.
Though these ones seem to be less like what's the word I'm thinking of? Like less eroded than the ones we see later
Yeah.
in the Gunslinger, because like they can talk and they can reason.
Yeah, for sure.
But they're definitely zombie-ish for sure.
Yeah.
So like, I kind of got them I kind of imagine it's like flesh, like kind of falling off of them and like turning weird colors and
Yeah, anytime you got green flesh, it's not a great sign.
yeah.
You got green flesh at home, go to your doctor.
Something's a little bit wrong.
Green is the bad point,
Yeah.
You're gonna, whatever. But
Yeah.
Oh God. So yeah, the slow mutants basically creep up on him. It's not just like one or two. It's like a fucking pack.
Yeah.
And might just me being pragmatic or whatever you want to call it. That fuck scene, fuck sound. Couldn't you smell these motherfuckers?
Right?
Like that's a pack of fucking rotting humans. I could smell that. Like, come on, Roland, you got to be better.
Maybe it's because the body that he was standing next to was already like
Ooh,
rotting.
That's a good point. Maybe the
That's
whole fucking place stinks.
Maybe, yeah.
Just Midworld just stinks, of death and whatever. So
No, Eddie would have pointed that out. He would have been like, "This place is nasty."
it fucking reeks. Oh
It's like,
God,
Roland, why did your world smell like farts? What the fuck?
Roland just lives in butt world.
Yeah.
That's what Midworld is. Jesus. Yeah. So he ends up getting clubbed in the back, right? Isn't that the big
so
injury?
he fights off a few of them, but one gets behind him and like clubs him either in the back or the back of the head.
Yeah.
But before they can do any lasting damage, he gets like rescued by some nuns.
Yeah.
They like chase off the mutants, and Roland wakes up in a hospital bed.
And the mentions of silk and being like contained gave me very strong spider vibes
Yeah.
at first.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? Are these spider people? Like, King isn't.
I think the nuns are explicitly vampires.
Yes, definitely. But in the beginning, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, all this silk and isn't he like hanging?
He talks about one of the other one of the other patients, like
Yeah.
they're hanging.
Oh, okay, I thought he was because his back was so fucked up.
It might have been that he was also.
Okay, it might have been the beginning. I did not review today. I just was like,
they lowered him onto the bed at one
Mhm.
point.
Okay.
So he might have like started off hanging. Yeah.
And he's in this state of delirium where he doesn't really get much. So like all the observations that Roland makes and that we get aren't great.
Oh, the Roland passing out counter went like skyrocketing.
I forgot about it. I forgot about that. Yes, he passes out. I mean, probably like 8 times in this short story.
Absolutely. I was counting for a while, and then I was like, "Well, he's kind of drifting in and out, so it's not fair."
Yeah, I mean, he's just a sleepy guy. That's all he is.
Yeah. I definitely actually took notes like in my book. You know, I committed the
that's
Cardinals
my
then.
favorite. No, that's if it's your book, it's your book.
Right, exactly.
Especially my paperbacks.
Yeah.
I mark them motherfuckers up. You know, I'd put underlines and I'd talk in just gibberish. It's like ways that I knew. I need to get back to actually reading the books for these last 3 that we have. God, we still have 3 books left.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Or if we want to get extra.
Yeah, I went through the keyhole. I need to read and I can't listen to the audiobook. So 'cause I can't listen to King again. I just
King narrated
yeah,
it?
it's not good.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not great.
I imagine.
But yeah, so he's in like a tent, but it has like 50 beds on each side, right? Like it's super big.
So right now, it looks to him like a hospital. Like he you know, like everything looks like pristine and clean.
Mm-hmm.
There's just rows and rows of beds. There's like 4 or 5 of them around him are filled out at this point.
Yeah.
And then he starts hearing like this chittering.
The singing of the doctor bugs is what
Singing of the doctor bugs.
that he ends up coming to it, and what just a terrible way
Yeah.
to describe that.
Yeah. So the nurses, the nuns are, you know, delivering the medicine, taking care of him. But there are also the doctors. And the doctors are just a horde of bugs.
You ever seen the original Mummy with Brendan Fraser?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's the bugs I think of. Like whenever the dude sticks his
Yeah,
hand in there and
okay.
it comes back as a skeleton and it eats him like goat claws in his skin. I'm
Right.
like, oh God. This is terrible.
And throughout the story, Roland is kind of like trying to fight them off, but they are feeding him like this poison that keeps him weak.
Yeah,
And he befriends the youngest of the nuns.
of course.
Her name was
Roland is a groomer. Let's just say that.
I mean, I got the idea that she was kind of around his age, but no, that works. That works for sure.
Roland was groomed at first.
Yeah.
So he had to, return the favor.
He doesn't know any better.
Oh God.
Yuck. But
Very much yuck. Yeah, he
Um,
gets friends with her and she tells him basically like these sisters aren't great.
yeah, she's like, I don't want to be here. My like mother dropped me off here, and now I'm stuck.
Yeah.
She used to be part of their cabal or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
somehow she got out or she died and left me with them.
Yeah.
But she gives him these like reeds that he can chew on. They'll slowly help him like kind of counteract the poison that's weakening him and get his strength back.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of get a lot of scenes of them talking and kind of like flirting a little bit.
It's very
Weird to get this immediately after the book that was his love story.
Roland is just horned up too at all times.
And like yeah, realistically this was like, probably more than a decade after those
Yes.
the last story, but this was immediately after like the love story book.
It plays on the like action hero movies back in the day.
Yeah, where there's always got to be a
You
love
just
interest.
had to have a girl that the action
love
hero
interest of the
fucked.
week.
That's what they had to have. James Bond had to have a girl he was fucking not in love with, but madly lusting after.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that somehow made the movie better. That she was in danger. He would save her. And next movie, we don't care about her.
Yeah, she's gone.
There's a I hate to bring this back to Always Sunny, but it clouds all of my judgment and my mind.
I'm currently working my way through that. I'm on late season 3
Okay.
right now.
So Dane DeVito's in,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's amazing.
He's
He's the
fantastic.
best.
I think the last episode I watched was Frank Set Sweet D on fire.
That's a good one. I love that. The cat conveyor. They're gonna chopping
Yeah.
cats.
They're going to see my hand.
Oh God, man. I know that nothing about like somebody talking about Always Sunny. It would just be fun to fucking recap for a podcast like that. That's what I do. Man. Oh, let's watch that. They're doing it right now. The
Yeah,
three guys,
they've got
Mac,
their
Charlie,
Always Sunny
Dennis.
podcast.
Yes, they have Always Sunny podcasts. Oh, it's okay, but you also understand these are like mid 40-year-olds now.
Yeah.
And so some of the stuff they wrote whenever they were 29, they don't necessarily like anymore.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
And like I get it, but you have to live with it. And there's sometimes you could tell they're Hollywood a
Yeah.
little bit. So it's like they don't want to just come on and podcast like we will and just kind of ramble. It's like they want to create something that means something. Why are we doing this? Why am I using my time for this? Da 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 da.
Yeah.
It's cool enough. I wish it was just a little more amateur,
Yeah.
because the show feels amateur in a lot of ways. you
Yeah,
know?
it was definitely those early seasons. Like, it does feel like it's low budget and
Oh,
like,
it was extremely. Yeah, it was.
yeah,
FX didn't
like
give
it
them
was just
shit.
some dudes hanging out,
Yeah.
being goofballs.
Yeah, it's great. What was I trying to say? Oh, they're talking about action hero movies and how like new action movies are too woke. That was the point of the episode. That their favorite action hero like became woke, and how that the new one didn't have a love interest of the week. And then D, the girl in the show, is like, yeah, you have a girl in there, and he beds him and deads him. Like basically, you fuck them, then they're gone the next show. We don't care anymore, you know. Like what a great way to put it, bed and deaden.
Yeah, that is very, very Bond.
Yeah. Roland is the same way, and I think that a lot of, I mean, if King watched that kind of stuff, that has to, seep into his writing a little bit.
Yeah.
But also, King's just kind of, he has a type, which is interesting. I don't know. Definitely not big people. I'll tell you that goddamn much.
Yeah, you were telling me.
Oh man. We'll get on to later because I want to talk about vampires, and we'll get into that. But yeah, he's out there. So, but yeah, the scene. She's whatever. Go ahead.
Yeah, so they're the vampires are very much like they're like feeding off the patients, just keeping them alive long enough until they're hungry again.
Mm-hmm.
But they can't feed on Roland because he has that medallion.
Yes.
So
When
they
do we
can't
find
touch
out
him.
that they're actually feeding on it? Was it with his guy that they thought was his brother?
I think it's a little bit before that because there's the guy in the aisle across from them. He
Okay.
he's awake when they feed on him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he is in bed next to the brother of the guy who he took the medallion off of.
Yes.
And it's there's kind of a fun relationship between them because Roland is telling the nurses like, no, I am so and so, whatever the name on the medallion is, and this guy in the bed next to him is like, yeah, that's my brother so and so, and the nurses / nuns like know that they're both lying.
Yeah.
And they know that the nurses know that they're lying.
Yeah.
But they're still doing it anyways.
Yeah. You just got to keep it up. Like, no, that's Tad or whatever the
Yeah.
fuck he said his name was.
Yeah, he's like, no, I vouched for him. And they're
Yeah.
just like, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, yeah. All right. Yeah.
But then that leads us to a very cool scene where the sisters bring in one of the slow mutants.
I don't remember this.
Yeah, so they bring one of the slow mutants in, the one that can like talk and reason,
Yeah.
and they tell him to like take the medallion off of Roland because they can't touch it.
Yeah.
They can't get near it. And
Which is a bad sign if you're rooting for the sisters. You can't touch a cross. That's not a good sign for you.
And then at eventually the mutant's about to do it, and he realizes like, well, they're just gonna kill me
Yeah.
afterwards after I'm not useful to them.
Yeah.
So he takes the medallion off of the brother because he was gonna take it off of both of them,
Yeah.
and then he takes like a knife or a scalpel or something, and like slashes the dude's throat.
Oh, Jesus.
I
I don't remember any of this.
You don't remember that?
No.
And so then the sisters like go feral on the brother,
Yeah.
and the mutant runs off. He's like, I'm gonna save my own skin.
I don't remember any of this.
Yeah, and then
Did I fucking finish this story? It's been so goddamn long. Okay. Okay. Keep going. I guess I might be hearing this for kind of the first time as we go.
story time with Jake. All right.
Yeah. Holy shit.
So then it's after that, like Roland started to regain enough of his strength. He and Jenna are going to escape. I think that was her name, right? Jenna
Yeah.
or Jenny?
Yeah.
And then as they're escaping, this is where my memory starts to get a little bit fuzzy, but like the bugs doctors start coming after them,
Yeah.
and Jenna feels that like she stole these like bells that the sisters have,
Yeah.
and they use those to control the bug doctors.
Yeah. I remember this.
And so they run out of the hospital, and when Roland turns around, that's when he sees like that wasn't a hospital, that was just a ratty little tent with
Yeah.
we weren't in hospital beds, they were just like sleeping bags on the ground basically.
Yeah. That it was all kind of, I remember this being an illusion.
Yeah, it was like all a glamour kind of.
Yeah. And yeah. Okay. I remember. Okay. Keep going. I remember where that goes.
Yeah, and so
Because there's been hints of glamours and illusions
Yeah.
happening in this story already, where he'd be looking at one of them and being like, "I don't think you really look like this."
yeah.
So
Oh yeah, because they make themselves look like, all kind of like young and beautiful,
Mhm.
and then when he finally catches a reveal what they look like, they're like old and like twisted and like they look all jacked up.
yeah,
Like they look like vampires,
for sure.
like the creepy horror story version of vampires, not the
Twilight,
Sparkly romantic
boys,
ones.
Yeah. So let's just stop there, because I am currently in the middle of reading Danse Macabre, which is basically Stephen King's like long essay on the horror genre. So like, okay, who better to write this, and I can listen to it because it's nonfiction, and this is where he's ragging on people that are overweight for, solid 15 minutes of audiobook.
Good Lord,
It's fucking,
you wrote a whole chapter about it.
and it's just he's talking about like, it was written in like he was 33 whenever he wrote this, I believe. He keeps saying that, so it was obviously like in the 80s or something.
Yeah, it was like
So a little different, whatever. But you got to be better. What was the point? Like he's talking about people with like physical deformities, and how if like the freak show, and how even it's like how that is horrifying to people, and how like even in our everyday life we encounter people that trigger the same thing as like a fucking Lovecraftian horror, that we wouldn't know what we're looking at. It looks crazy, and like things that he says on this are like people that are just have things that are like naturally wrong with them, that deformities, whatever, to people with extreme acne, to fat people. Like that was his big ones that he says these like distract him in his everyday life, and that is something that is like base and natural to all humans, and that is why we enjoy horror. And I could not get aboard his thesis because I'm like, oh my God, you are so concerned with looks. This is insane.
yeah.
I guess like if you're talking about the medium of a movie, half of it is fucking visual, right?
Right.
So you have to be concerned with a little bit of looks and how sight gags and fucking costumes and sound effects or special effects, not sound effects, all that, right? But he just rags on them forever. But he does have some good points in there where he was talking about like vampires are there's like 3 classes of horror movies in his idea, that if they have a bad guy, like, and a vampire was one of them. And if you want to break it down, a zombie is really a vampire. They just
I can see that. Yeah, they're both undead creatures that sustain life by taking it from others.
and turn you into one by biting you. Like
Yeah.
it's all basically
Yeah.
the same thing. He's like, and really, if you want to split hairs, werewolf and vampire are very similar. Da da da, whatever. And he breaks down how like vampires have been done and redone over and over and over again. And this is before the Twilight craze or anything like that. But how like a very common use or tool of a vampire is sex appeal, and how that always interested him, and how that kind of made horror movies, especially vampire horror movies, for people that are teenagers or teenage boys, and seeing a hypersexualized being do this to women
Yeah.
on screen changed like the view of sex in America. And it's this big fucking thesis that goes on about it. And it's kind of out there, but it's all whenever somebody has a point to make and they're good at making a point, I love it. You can
Yeah.
be wrong as fuck, and I could completely disagree with you. I'm like, okay, you're doing your fucking thing right here. I see you. You're saying shit, but I got you. And it was
You might be wrong, but you're interesting about
yeah. Well, I mean, that's
it.
I wouldn't put it that blunt, but that's why a lot of the people on my other podcasts, that's why I have them on. I love the way that they think. Just say what you think and put it out there in an interesting way, because I find that interesting.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely Zoe and Jordan are two people that I like. I don't agree with a lot of things they say, but I love the way they think and how they could try to get how to just say those things, So that's a good thing about me, I guess. I like to hear people talk. But anyways, hypersexualization of vampires. It's an interesting concept, and it's being played here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Jenna is sexualized for Roland, and how King goes into even how like fucking even like the act of biting is like symbolism for oral sex, and it's like what's going on here? I wish I could maybe not symbolism, but some kind of whatever, right?
Yeah.
And it's fucking wild, bro. I'm telling you. There's another one where I need to stop listening to audiobooks while I'm doing other things. That's the worst thing about having so many things for fiction or just media that I want to consume, is that my brain does not want me to tunnel in on one thing ever.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be listening to an audiobook, let me be driving. Let me be playing a video game. Let me be cleaning the house. I couldn't fucking imagine sitting here, hands on my knees, and listening to a fucking audiobook.
I'd go crazy.
What the
Are
fuck
you kidding
is that? That'd be insane. But then there's also things in audiobooks where I'm like, oh, I read that, but did I read it? I'm alive, but am I living? That kind of thought,
Yeah.
Where that's the same thing with TV, with movies. That's why I don't watch a lot of fucking TV shows, because if I want to watch it, I want to give it the attention it deserves. I just finished Better Call Saul, the 5 seasons that are on Netflix, and I could usually only get through about an episode a night, because I want to try to give it as much as it wants from me, so I can catch everything because it won so many fucking awards. I'm like, okay, it has to be something good here,
Right.
These are obviously talented individuals portraying somebody on screen, writing, whatever it may be. And I was happy that I did, because it was a very good show. But I can't do that for 4 or 5 hours a night. I can't like come home, read, watch a show, listen to an audiobook, and like take all of that in.
Yeah.
And I don't know where my point is going with this, but I'm glad you guys know that. So yeah, Danse Macabre. It's fun, and vampires are sexual, and fat people suck. So.
Yeah.
Oh God, the Dr. Bugs.
Yeah. So, some of the older vampires, they kind of try to cut them off and stop them. Jenna,
Are they in like a compound? I'm forgetting where they are.
they're kind of like outside of town just a little bit.
Okay.
Like they're still technically in Eluria, but like on the outskirts of it.
Gotcha.
But it kind of ends up, Jenna ends up dying in the conflict. Roland gets away,
Mm-hmm.
and the rest of the sisters kind of come to realize like it's better just cut our losses and leave.
Yeah,
This
why
guy
are we
ain't worth
chasing
it.
this guy down?
Yeah,
And he still has the medallion, right?
I don't know if he ends the book with it or not.
Interesting. That'd be something that would be interesting to see if he had in his pack, you know?
Yeah, let me.
I don't know. I don't remember finishing this book. I don't remember a lot of those things you just said, and I'm disappointed in myself.
I mean, we did read it a long time ago.
I read it like 2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it wasn't something that I really like, okay, this is amazing. I need to talk about this. It was I was glad that I read it, but
Yeah. Oh, so this is not something that we were just talking about,
yeah.
but I did highlight some stuff in here that I did have either like questions about or I thought would like kind of come up again.
Yeah.
So there's one section here. He says, a shiver ran through them in a subtle wave, and then they began to form a shape. They hesitated as if unsure on how to go on, regrouped, began again. What they eventually made on the whiteness of the sand there between the blowing fluffs of lilac-colored sage was one of the great letters, the letter C. And great in letters was both capitalized.
Okay.
So I was like, that's not something we've talked about before.
Oh, really?
Like,
We haven't?
I don't think great letters has come
Ah.
up before.
It's the high speech and low speech.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's definitely something I was going to keep an eye out for.
Yeah.
So I was like, what could that mean?
Yeah, great letters are of the high speech, I believe.
Okay.
And yeah, there's the low speech is something completely different.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
There's another one here. It says, without thinking about it, what he was doing, like play acting, reasoned thought was not his strong suit. And I was like, call back. He ain't smart.
So, I think that if there ever was a glaring need, I'm getting a little meta here for
Yeah.
our podcast. I think it kind of highlighted today with me fucking up and not remembering a lot of things. So I want to add some structure to this. I might as well discuss it live because we're basically at the end of the story, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I guess let's recap that, then I'll get into my structure thing. So we said it's a cool story, not necessarily needed for the story of the Dark Tower. Like I don't think
it's not
it didn't add
pivotal to the overall experience.
It was cool
But
that
it was nice to have.
It was cool to understand vampires exist in Roland's world.
Yeah.
Like, that's new.
Oh, and another thing that I saw when I was looking stuff up for this book, Eluria is actually in another one of his books.
Oh, really?
It is The Talisman.
No. See, there's no if The Talisman is a fucking midworld book and they won't admit it, I'm gonna be pissed.
So the only thing that I like, what I was reading, like the only connection they have is like the place where like the nuns rescue him from the great mutants.
Yeah.
The main character of the Talisman is also there at some point when the town is still like alive and well.
See, the
and I don't know enough about that book to.
It's basically there's a world. It's the Upside Down, but the Upside Down is midworld. It's basically our world. We all have doubles there. You'll have a me redacted, and we'll have a Upside Down redacted.
Okay.
And you have doppelgangers, and this kid has the ability. He's going because his mom on the other side is actually the queen of this place, and this midworld or whatever this world is, it has magic but doesn't have technology. And the kid's like godfather was in business with his dad, and they brought technology to this world. They're the one that found the loophole to get in there, right?
Okay.
Not loophole, but wormhole, whatever the fuck it is. And they found out to get in there, so they brought in technology and are like instantly just rich there. You bring them whatever, like functioning fucking a compass, to do a map with.
Yeah.
Just shit like that they don't have. And that's interesting. Maybe that's how our fucking midworld is connected. Because they don't necessarily say that it's exactly midworld. There's no they're like it's definitely like the time of like knights, but there's no mention of guns. There's no mention of like Hey Jude or it might just be a different part of it, but so it's a cool book. I didn't finish it because it was actually on my mom's Audible account before I switched over to mine, and I was in the middle of that book and I forgot to buy it. That's what I need to keep going on. And if If they're connected, that's very, very, very interesting. Because he's writing it with another person, with Peter Straub.
Peter Straub, yeah.
Yeah, and he's on Twitter and he's not verified.
Really?
Strange as shit, right?
Huh.
Like it's him. He tweets about these books all the fucking time, and like King will tweet him and
Yeah.
like quote tweet him and shit, but he's not verified. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, you have. I bet you have a Stephen King on your cover. You're gonna probably be a bestseller.
Yeah.
Just Stephen King with Peter Straub, whatever. Just like Joe Hill and him, whenever they wrote Sleeping Beauties, was they probably went fucking bestseller just because it had the King name on it, And you're not fucking verified. But I did, for what I remember of this book, I did enjoy it. I'm glad you have the book. This is one of my favorite.
It's a lovely cover.
One of my favorite covers. Yes, I love it. It has nothing to do with the book or the story. I thought that maybe there'd be blood and water or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
I mean, maybe one of the stories.
maybe one of them, but not everything's of it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I didn't know
gotcha.
if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, just out there, fucking crazy. But yeah, so to the meta point, what are some sections that we can add in here that would make this more interesting? One of the ones that I have is we have a section of we mark down or take notes of things in the story that relate directly to the Dark Tower. Or to
Okay.
Roland's past, or to something that is like, oh, he included this, that's interesting, we can talk about it. And so like I used to highlight a lot of things in my books, and I just go through as we were going and kind of reread the chapter as we were going, speed read it,
Yeah.
and see all my highlights. I stopped doing that with the audiobooks, but I think that if I take the time, we could do it. I'd like to add some kind of structure to this. Maybe, I know the Losers Club podcast I listen to is another Stephen King podcast. I listened to it a couple years, but they do like for every book they do like word processor of the gods is what they call it. And
I am in love already.
yeah, and it's just any piece of prose that King writes that stands out to you. I was like, oh, this is good writing. Like, this is just a way with words. However he concocts this whatever. Oh shit, we got a little chat. Can you read that? I think it's from Dominican Dagger.
Oh, I cannot. That is.
I can't either. That is very small.
It is very tiny, but
I wish Zoe was in here to hear me talk shit on him.
in a loving way, of course.
Yeah, for sure. Always. All love.
Pull it up on my phone real quick.
Yeah, so like just try to add some kind of structure to it. And I think that if we find points that point to Roland's past, or like just something that is, we call like new information.
Yeah.
Just because there's a lot of things we don't know about this shit so far. And if we can bring that in, and we both kind of bring our own content, and we're like, oh, I had that too, whatever, but we could talk about it
Yeah.
and what that means. So I think like we could do that. We could find some prose that we like. That they also do one on the Losers Club podcast called God, you probably haven't read it, but Dead Zone. Never
Was
heard-
did they make a TV show that one too?
Yes, with
Yeah.
fucking Christopher Walken. It's a
Oh, really?
yeah, it's a movie, and he's
Okay.
the main guy. Yeah. It's great.
So our comment was Zoe asking, what is the low speech?
Ooh, that's a good idea. A low speech. When I first read this, I thought it was Spanish
Yeah.
because of how much it happens in book 4. But low speech it's basically just a gutter language that the normal people talk, where the high speech is what these people will. It's what royalty speaks. Roland doesn't speak high speech all the time, but he knows it fluently.
Yeah.
So, very good question. Yeah, stuff like that are just softballs. I can crank that out. So, what do you think about adding sections, kind of more structure?
Yeah,
to this?
definitely.
Okay.
I like that. I think that will kind of feel a little bit more focused too.
And like I like that we kind of just recap it, but I want to add something to it. you know?
Yeah.
Because we can recap it and then talk about it and have tangent. That's basically like our product right now is just recap, tangents, laughs. All right, see you later. So if we could maybe like speed up the recap and then bring in our own, because I'm not saying anything to you by any means, because you bring a lot more to this. I bring the hardware, you bring the thoughts. Is how it's working right now. You're bringing me the content. Well, I'm just like, okay, I'm here. I got the house, I got the camera, I got the mics, But no, I think that'd be a good idea. I think that would help us out a lot. And I'm looking forward to it for the last 3 books.
Absolutely. And yeah, I can definitely like speed up the recap part. I can find a way to do that for sure.
I think we can just kind of give it like a, what's on the back of the book?
Like a
Synopsis, but a very extended synopsis. I
Yeah.
think it should be multiple 20, 30 minutes of recap. And then we can get into, where we are, what's going on with the book, things that stood out to us, things that we connected, especially since we're not going to be reading a whole book again. This was only a novella, but
still like it was longer than I thought it was going to be, honestly.
Same. And I think
the audiobook was about like 2 hours long.
Yeah.
And this was like 60, 70 pages.
Yeah. And it's amazing how slow audiobooks are. I can read 60, 70 pages in 60, 70 minutes easy.
Yeah.
An hour 10 easy. But audiobooks are slow as shit. But anyways, so that's all I have for this book. Did you have anything else with this book?
One thing that just really stood out to me while I was going through it is that this is kind of the first time since The Gunslinger that we are back in Roland's head for like an entire story.
Ooh, that's right, yeah.
Like everything else, almost every time we're in a scene with Roland, it is somebody else as like the narrator character.
We did kind of remove ourselves from Roland after he got sick.
Yeah.
So
I thought that was kind of one of my favorite parts of this, was just that like we were back in Roland's head.
Yeah.
Which we hadn't really gotten since The Gunslinger. And in The Gunslinger, he was a robot.
Yeah.
So it kind of felt like we weren't really in his head anyways.
And you didn't want to be there if you were.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. It was kind of told from this, like the first couple lines in The Gunslinger where he's like, he felt thirst and he enjoyed that as well. It's very, like he's a mythical figure that is something is being written about instead of we are hearing a story from his perspective.
Right.
I felt very aware that this was somebody writing about somebody, which is kind of an interesting take to have, but I have it. Yeah. So yeah, that point you just had, I think is an amazing one that we could have for like our, God, we just call it Bag of Bones.
Yeah.
Because he has a short story called Bag of Bones. It could just be things that we found fucking interesting that we bring in, we talk about.
Okay.
I love it. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it. Bag of Bones. Great one. Okay.
Hell yeah.
The best news of December, probably of 2022, is the fact that, oh God. Oh no, I
Did you
forgot.
just forget the good news?
Fucking name. I forgot his name. It's not Mazzara.
Oh.
It's fucking.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Mike Flanagan?
I don't know.
Yes, Mike
He's your
Flanagan,
guy.
I think. Yes, he is my guy. Couldn't remember his fucking name. But, oh, wait, do you have other news?
No, you're just like, the big news is,
Yeah.
oh no, I forgot.
I forgot this fucking name, and I'm so hype about this guy because I enjoy what he does. Wait, I mean, he did, goddamn, what was it? The Mist and fucking, oh no, it wasn't The Mist. I'm shitting the fucking bed. When I'm saying that, I'm just thinking about it. And he did Dr. Sleep. I know that, and Dr. Sleep was amazing.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the shit out of that one. So, but he is signed on with Amazon, in like a first rights deal where he basically gets all of his ideas and his creations go to Amazon first.
Yeah.
And Amazon already liked the idea of the Dark Tower so much to have a pilot created. What other King works has he done?
So it looks like, I don't know which all of these are King works, not necessarily.
Yeah.
But he worked on Midnight Mass, which I know he was the director for that, and I know that people loved that show.
Yeah.
He was director for The Haunting of Hill House, another people loved that. I haven't read it or watched it, but
me neither.
Haunting of Bly Manor. Looks like he just did one episode of that, but then Dr. Sleep, The Midnight Club, Gerald's Game.
Gerald's Game is Stephen King. That was on Netflix.
Oh, was it? Nice.
Very good. Very good little Netflix original.
He did the Ouija board movie.
Oh yeah.
That came out a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Before I Wake, Hush, Oculus.
Yep.
Oculus Chapter 3, which came out before Oculus. I don't know. And then it looks like it's just some small ones that don't have pictures.
Okay.
But yeah, it looks like he's done some very cool stuff.
And he's one of those guys that whenever in interviews, like, oh, what's your dream project? And he'll always mention the Dark Tower.
Yeah.
Like,
And I know from like before this got announced,
Yeah.
you were telling me that he was who you were hoping would get it.
he's like the
and he
dude that the mega fans really point to. Like,
Yeah, that's what I was about to-
him. Yeah.
That's what I was about to say as
Yeah.
well. Is that like he was like the fans' choice
Yes.
to work on this.
Yes. And the movie was kind of, there was people that were involved that like really liked it, but it became very studio heavy. And I think he
Yeah.
has enough, like with Dr. Sleep, he didn't have like the commercial success that was expected for probably a Shining 2.0, you know?
Yeah.
But the fact that he was able to tiptoe the line between continuing Kubrick's version and keeping Stephen King happy, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's a fucking masterclass in creating art that doesn't like offend the original creators, you know?
Yeah.
Because
And it was a fun movie too.
I really liked it.
Yeah.
You know that the baseball boy scene where they like fucking eat that boy
Like,
alive?
near the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That had to be trimmed because it would be like over R, like NC-17.
Oh shit.
Like he had that bad of a fucking idea for putting this boy through it.
God
Like, oh my
damn.
god. 'Cause they
Wow.
like cut him and hurt him and he screams out pain and they suck in his essence. Like that's what they it's fucking nuts. And it is traumatizing as is. And to hear that scene was
Hashtag release the Flanagan cut.
I don't know if I'd want to see it. It's like, you know, I mean, all of us watched the beheading videos when we were, 11, 12 years old when the internet first came out.
God, yeah.
I didn't need to see that. I didn't need to
No,
see how
absolutely
legs
we
kick
didn't.
whenever a head gets chopped off. I don't need to know that information. Yeah. So that is going to happen. And
Very excited for that. Have they put a release date on that yet, or is it still just
it's not even like
it's just
a-
announced?
well, it's not even announced that it's going to happen. Just announced that this is like the guy is up to bat.
Okay.
You know, he has came onto the field. He is staying at home plate with his bat in hand. Okay, cool. We still need somebody to throw out a pitch. We just let Amazon be like, okay, yeah, you guys can do it.
So right now we've kind of just got like a wisp of an inkling.
Yes, and I don't think that it would move fast.
Yeah, it's Hollywood. They won't move fast.
Yeah, but they also Amazon showed enough. They're dumping money into these kind of things. I think that Game of Thrones left a vacuum. If it would have finished on a higher note, it would have been a bigger vacuum to me.
Yeah.
If Game of Thrones would have finished as a better fucking show instead of the steaming pile of garbage we were given.
And so far, Amazon has put up 2 contenders. Not super popular yet.
Mhm.
But Wheel of Time and The Rings of Power.
I've heard Rings of Power was pretty good.
I've heard mixed, and my opinion was that I watched the first 2 episodes and forgot to watch the rest.
Okay.
So that's how enthralled I was.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, I haven't that. Okay, I hope that it doesn't take much for something to catch fire because I know
Yeah.
like Game of Thrones wasn't the cultural smash in season 1,
Yeah.
but by season it takes about probably like 3 years before you can realize like okay, this thing is going to be huge, or it's just going to kind of be a you and me thing.
Right.
But God, give me a chance. I don't know.
I did really enjoy the Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be better enjoyed if you did not read the books.
Okay.
Because they have made a lot of changes to better fit TV,
Yeah.
but also a lot of changes that make book fans angry, and I don't necessarily see the reason behind them.
Gotcha.
I'm not the one getting angry about it,
Okay.
but this is a case where I'm like, I get it. I get it if you are.
Yeah. For sure. Huh. Okay.
But I thought it was pretty interesting. I'm excited for season 2 of that.
Yeah, no doubt. I wonder. Okay, so. Thinking about if this show starts to get made.
Yeah.
We're not done with this fucking series yet.
Speed run.
I want to watch this movie before the series comes out. 'Cause
Yeah.
I want to be mad. I want to be. Ideally, I would watch this movie before we even know that the show is in works, so I'd have no
Yeah.
hope. You know. Ideally, it happened like 6 months ago. You know, I'll watch this fucking movie again, and we create some content out of it. And
I am down anytime.
if you're willing, next episode, do you want to watch the movie?
Sure.
Okay. I'm thinking about this setup.
Yeah.
Watch it. I'm gonna pause the motherfucker. We're gonna sit here and I'm gonna fucking tear it up. So I'm thinking there's not much about. There is a little bit, but it doesn't fucking happen until like book 6.
Yeah.
That you're really gonna get spoiled on. But god damn, the movie sucks so fucking bad. It's so bad. But I think it'd be worth the content.
Yeah.
Because now it might even be better that you're like informed enough to understand why I'm mad. And I can point out other shit, be like, you don't even know how bad this is. You don't even understand.
I'll be like, yeah, but Matthew McConaughey's doing such a good job.
He does, and Idris Elba kills it.
Yeah.
I love both of them as characters. The kid is Jake. Sure, I just don't like the storyline.
Yeah.
I just don't like how
Yeah.
they used him.
Yeah, no, I will just say the things to be a butt. For sure.
The what?
I said I'll just say the things to be a butt. I'll be like, oh yeah, but no, look, it's
You're
such
okay,
a pretty
you're
shot
gonna play-
right now.
You're gonna be a white guy. You're gonna play devil's advocate. Gotcha. But no, I think that would be fun because I do want to get back into because this next book is not a slog by any means, but it's a big one and a lot of things fucking happen, and it takes a while for it to happen. It's almost like a mini detective novel. There's
Okay.
a little bit of detective work that goes in there,
Yeah.
and it's a good one though. We really get batshit crazy in 6 and 7, and I'm really excited for that. And I think we're gonna fly through those because they're crazy. But to try to get us back on track, 2023. Ideally, we should be able to finish at least 2 books next year.
Yeah, definitely. Oh,
At
yeah.
least 2 books,
I think we can do it for
and
sure.
maybe coming on 3.
I think
we
so.
might be able to finish the series in 2023.
I think we can do it.
That would be my goal.
Yeah.
So in order to do that, I think adding the structure into the show would help us being a little bit better on communicating when and when we can't not record, you know.
Right. Being
Out-
better at scheduling for
Outside of football season, my life opens up.
sure. Yeah.
But 3 to 4 hours a week on days that you have off, it's very different. So that actually reminds me, do I want to ask you on camera or not? Yeah, because it could be content. So I got a couple friends that are very interested in playing Dungeons and Dragons, and we have nobody that knows how. And I was like, I know a guy that I can talk to.
Oh shit.
I have at least, it would be me and 2 of my friends
Okay.
that would be interested in playing sometime, however many times a month, whatever. Just because this friend he plays, it's him and his old lady, his old lady, his wife, right? And like they play Call of Duty, and I play with them sometimes, but we're feeling old playing video games now.
Okay.
I'm losing reaction time. Like, what kind of a fucking hobby can I do that wouldn't be playing a shit tier game and getting mad all the time? And we've talked about this, that we've always had this interest, but we just never really ran with crowds that had people that played, you know?
Yeah.
As of right now, you're the only person, you and my dad are the 2 people I know that have ever played Dungeons and Dragons. So
That would be interesting.
I'll have my dad come by. I don't think my dad would because he is such a recluse
Yeah.
when it comes like social stuff like this. But yeah, just something to kick around in your old noggin that I have.
Yeah, that,
I have players
okay.
that if you would be what to join as a player or whatever, I think it'd be a really good time. So no pressure, even though you're on camera. But yeah, man. So cool here. This book's done. Next episode will be the movie, which should be a lot of fucking fun. I might
Yeah.
even hype that up. Can we set a time right now so I can like prepare my whole life for it?
Yeah, let me.
Because it's like a 2.5 hour long movie. No, it's actually pretty quick, ain't it? Like 90 minutes. I think I remember King tweeting about that.
Yeah. I am not sure how long it is, but let me see what I have next weekend.
Okay. So I'm thinking, movie here with time to discuss and time to talk about it. We're probably looking at 3 hours, easy.
Yeah,
You know,
especially for pausing it and everything.
yeah.
I mean, how does next Saturday around 3 again sound?
Sounds amazing. I'm always free on Saturdays usually,
All right,
especially
cool.
around this time. I don't do shit. So
Yeah?
yeah.
All right.
Okay, cool. I think we could do that, and it'll be. I think this setup will. I'll work it where we can maybe even have the screen like right here, or
Okay.
something, so it even show us like looking at it,
Yeah.
and then we could look up and be mad. I'm gonna be so mad.
Oh, I'm gonna have a good time.
Be so mad. I haven't watched this since the theater.
Oh yeah, me neither.
Watched it once. I talked this up to my dad and my stepmom so much too, because I like by the time that I had not finished the series by the time the movie came out. I finished it like the week of, and I went and saw the movie. So like, okay, I didn't know.
Oh boy.
I actually got the end of the books, the end of the series spoiled to me because of one of my friends at work talking bullshit about it. But anyways,
Yeah.
it's a different time, and like that, it took over my life for like probably 6 months. Like I was getting people at work to start reading it. I was making friends that were like, "Oh my god, you've read it? Let's talk about it." You know? That's all I was doing. You know, every day, worked 8-hour shifts, and I'm just listening to audiobooks the whole day. I listened to like my sports podcast, and I think the Cubs were in the fucking World Series that year, so I listened to that too. 2016, Jesus, I started this. Fuck. That the year the movie came out.
It feels
It was
very
2017.
recent.
I think it was 2017.
Really? Wow.
Or was that it?
It was 2017, yeah.
Was it 2017?
Wow, I thought it was older than that, honestly.
Yeah. Jesus. So
It's
yeah,
only 5 years ago. Wow.
yeah, it was about that. Oh no, that was the year that fucking God. It's weird that I like I mark times in my life by sports events. Like Russell Westbrook, point guard for Oklahoma City Thunder, won MVP that year. And I remember what I was doing. I would listen to every fucking Oklahoma City game.
Yeah.
And I would then listen to the Dark Tower. You know? And that's also the same year that like the big draft for the Cowboys. It was such a great fucking year for listening for me.
Yeah.
Everything I listened to was fucking gold. Like my favorite player wins MVP. The draft for the NFL was crazy. We drafted like amazing picks and all this and that fucking movie.
And then that fucking movie.
That fucking movie just kicked me in the dick. Like I hate it. And so I think that there is a chance for content.
Absolutely.
I think there is a chance
is.
for me to make things that to put out there because I probably not even remember how mad I am. Really. I think I'm really probably just scratching the surface of how mad I will be about this. I don't know how the fuck to do it. Well, can we call it a fucking watch along?
I mean,
And I mean, it
Yeah.
might get taken down from YouTube, but fuck it.
we'll
'Cause I
set,
can- I
set
can-
up like a dummy YouTube account so this one.
Well, will they shut down my whole account?
I don't know. Probably not. But
Probably not. Probably not a small one.
no.
But I mean, I don't know. Because I was thinking about like switching back and forth between screens, right? Like
Yeah.
I would have just behind base or was inside baseball. Let's cut back and forth between screens like this.
yeah, I think if we're doing it like that, it's kind of like an extended version of one of those videos where people are like doing commentary over a movie.
Yeah, and I actually did that wrong. So
By the way,
Yeah,
what does
shit, what you
redacted
said.
mean?
I did that wrong. So hopefully next time it'd be better. But yeah, I'd want
How long?
what?
For how long did they not hear us?
Like 10 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I was like
The whole time, yeah, the whole episode. But no, yeah. So that'll be okay next week at 3. A watch along,
Same bat time, same bat place.
same bat time, same redacted time, same redacted place. That's a solid sign off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't got much else. I'm excited for 2023, and I hope that you guys don't get overwhelmed by New Year's resolutions because not everything has to happen in January. Get better day by day.
Yeah.
Week by week.
I like that.
Don't be depressed.
Well, I don't know if I can be on the show anymore.
Oh no, just
Sorry.
God. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
disqualified.
No, I'm there with you, boss. But yeah, thank y'all for stopping by. Those of y'all that did, we had Dominican Dagger in the chat. Always love to see him here. Great fan of the show, and anybody that shows support in the comments, I love that. Hopefully, maybe I'll try to blast that. I'm doing a watch along. I might even You know, the Dark Tower Palaver guys I
Yeah.
talk about all the time. They're doing a end of the year bash today, where they have a whole bunch of people joining their Discord and they basically just hang out.
Oh,
And you can
right
join
on.
and they show it, they record it, and like put it out.
Yeah.
I might even hop in there and be like, "Hey, we're gonna be doing this next week, and I'm gonna be trashing on it. If you guys want to, even just be in the chat,
Yeah.
you know, because that could be kind of fun." I might do that. I need, I need a better personality. That's all it really fucking comes down to. I need to be a better person to be able to market myself, to be able to market this thing. Because I think that I have fun doing this, but I could be doing more. And starting with them is where I think would be a good one, you know, kind of cross pollination
Yeah.
of views. But nobody wants to fucking hear about this. It's just me, my therapy session. What do people have podcasts for except for really cheap therapy?
Oh, right. Yeah. No, this is therapy that we can maybe one day get ads to run on. Right?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe
there you
talk
go.
about MeUndies
Yeah.
while being sad.
I'll talk about MeUndies and cry. I'll talk about how absorbent they are. That's one thing I picked up. They're very absorbent for your tears.
It's a long way for tears to go. That's a lot of tears to make it down.
Well, I mean, you can wear some and just hold some to,
Oh,
you know,
okay, yeah, you got
They're multifaceted.
Oh god, that's fucking amazing. All right.
And like using those for your tears instead of tissues, like that's better for the environment even. Like pay me, MeUndies.
I feel like if I'm crying, I'm not going to have like a tissue.
Me
You a
neither,
tissue
but
guy?
some people do.
I don't think I would be. Like
I do if my nose gets
yes. And
stuffy.
honestly, I'd probably rather have a paper towel.
Oh, you nasty.
Oh, I got big nose. I got a big nose and it just comes out. Like
Now you got to get some of those tissues with like the lotion in them, dude. Oh,
I think that's where things that like somehow nothing. Never mind. I was gonna take this on a complete wrong
change your
way.
life, man.
I was gonna say
You cry
that
with the lotion tissues.
the egotistical side of my gender identity does not allow me to use lotion tissues. All right.
And if you're sick, they got the Vicks ones.
Oh, yeah. I just suffer and wallow in pettiness whenever I'm sick. I let it happen to me. It's terrible. But next week should be a lot of fun. I'm really excited.
Oh, I'm very excited.
Yeah, it'll be a really good time. I can't wait to just absolutely trash this movie, and I'll get the setup rolling so it looks all right. And same bat time, same bat place.
Hell yeah.
All right, y'all. Thanks for stopping by. I guess if you want to follow us on any of these like dying social media apps, go ahead. I'm redacted_posts on basically everything. And you can catch me not here doing other things, living my life.
And I'm Mr. Jakey Poo on Twitter as long as it's still alive. And I'm signed up for most of the other ones. I just don't really use them. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Remember to recycle your pizza boxes, all right?
Recycled in pizza boxes.
See ya.
Toodles.